Welcome to the Kingdom Life Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, Janine Marino, and today I am so excited to introduce to you the beautiful Carolyn Deck. Carolyn was born and raised in New Zealand. She has spent over 30 years abroad. She and her husband of 35 years have lived in Australia, in Chicago, which is where I'm from, while raising their five children. Carolyn is an author, speaker, podcast, quest, and transformational encourager who helps people break free from the pain of their past to step into a hope-filled future after walking through her own healing journey from a broken childhood, encountered many trials while living away from home and family. She discovered the power of choice, faith, and God's redeeming love. Her book, Above the Turbulence, Your Ticket Out of Pain to Purpose, is now inspiring lives around the world. Carolyn's message is simple yet life-changing. You don't have to stay stuck. God has a life of freedom and purpose waiting for you. Oh my word. Welcome, Carolyn. I'm so excited to talk to you. All right.
Oh, thank you so much, Janine. You know, when we reached out and we were chatting, it's just like God joined these dots and it was meant to be. I just love seeing how he does this.
Absolutely. He is just amazing. And it's so crazy how much our stories line up. We didn't talk a lot about that yet, so I'm excited to get into it. So share with me a little bit about what was it like growing up in New Zealand and how has that shaped who you are today?
Okay. It is such a small little country down the southern end of the world, for those that don't know. um, we are across from Australia, so if that might give you some bearing. You know, New Zealand, I do so love. Um, I just love our spirit, our free spirit, our spirit of adventure. I grew up in that space of outdoors, sport, passionate about sport. Um, I just love what it offers and gives you besides the entertainment when you get involved and what it teaches. Um, yeah, it was amazing actually living and growing up in New Zealand. And I feel back then it was a little less complicated.
Yeah.
Um, and, you know, you could freely walk to school. You could freely play outside and go to the park without these fears of what may happen. So it started well.
Oh, well, I love that. Well, tell me a little bit about, gosh, I mean, you've lived in multiple countries over the past 30 years and while raising five children. And so I have five kids as well, but I would love to hear just like what were some of the biggest challenges and blessings of that journey?
Well, where do I start? I think it comes down to this place that I'm learning more and more as I travel life. It's this less of me, right? Because when you have five kids, there's not much time for you, let's face it, right? Um, and it's for me, it was really about how can I survive this almost? um, you know, my children are very close in age. My husband is and always has been, and like myself, a traveler. So he traveled a lot. I could have got stuck in this trap that if it has to be, it's up to me, right?
Yeah.
And for a while there, I was exhausted with that belief that that was true. And it wasn't really until I moved to Australia with four young children, um, renting this place that when we turned up, we had nothing. It was very amazing. It was the challenge of thinking, oh my gosh, when is this container arriving with all our stuff? But you know what? It was actually almost more peaceful in the house when we had nothing. You know, the kids just loved playing with the simplicity of what they had and what people gave us. And it really, I look back at those years and go, wow, it was so rich actually. And moving away from New Zealand, and it just being my husband and I with these little kids, it actually brought us together in unity more than it separated us, even though physically at times, he was often gone. And I was just so grateful looking back in reflection of people that spoke into my life that actually, to your point, made impact.
Yeah.
And I just love it. For those that don't know, I'm just going to do your plug that I just love that on your profile, you talk about wellness, wonder, a bit abundance and impact.
Mm.
And I just embrace all of that, being a happy wanderer myself, um, seeking wellness from not just my physical, my emotional, but
Mm.
my spiritual being as well, having been in and out of a lot of trial through all of this. And one of the biggest impacts, I think, well, there were two. I was listening at a women's conference to, I believe she was World Vision, the CEO of World Vision was on a tour, and it was his wife.
Okay.
And she was speaking to the lives of us women and moms.
Oh.
And she spoke about the woman in the Bible, and I always get this wrong. I'm really bad with detail. I think she's the Proverbs 31. What she did was, here's this incredible woman, and it's not for us to compare our lives and inabilities and, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be that woman, because when we compare, it kills us. It really does. Comparison kills. What it did was to uplift us to say, what does this woman do? What sustains her in raising these children and being an honorable wife, whose husband was at the city gates? And so that really impacted me and gave me this vision of how can I be this woman? And I realized I can't be this person on my own, and we're not called to do that on our own. And the other impactful person was my friend Lily McLaughlin. She's a South African lady, and she called me into doing Bible study fellowship. And it's an in-depth study, right? And it requires time. And I said to her, Lily, are you crazy? I got 5 kids. They all play sport. I mean, are you kidding me? I got no time for this, right? But what I realized was that was pivotal when I actually prioritized my
Mm.
time and gave my time in surrender to God. He actually embraced and empowered me and supported me, and he was my source and my rock for all that was to come. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for that and the impact of those women speaking into my life.
Oh, I love that. I actually remember going through BSF. I was remembering because we talked about it yesterday, and I went through it, and I remember I had to stop because I was pregnant with my twins and I was so sick I couldn't make it. And so I heard that they're online now.
Oh,
She's amazing. Everyone should go to
yes.
BSF because it's pretty cool. I remember it being such an incredible experience.
Oh, it's so rich. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Well,
In fact, I was up this morning at 3:45. Sorry, just to finish that. I was up this morning very early to join my global women's group. And it is so powerful to, this really speaks into what we're doing. I feel like this world is crazy, and what impacts us is our choices. And, to see and speak and be connected to these women that live globally. I mean, they're on every continent almost around the world. And to be intentional, to pause and to be fed with rich truth in these days of chaos and craziness, really makes a huge difference. And I encourage your listeners that, if we're speaking Kingdom Life Unfiltered, I just want to say that we need this time, ladies. We need to put aside this intentional time of being with God. We all get 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
right? But even Jesus, when he walked the planet, spent time with his Father. And the impact that that had in his walk through that day was so powerful. So I just encourage you to do that, however that looks. But just spend this quiet time with him. Surround yourself with other faith women and community, as Jesus did, and your life will change.
100%. I agree. And actually, one little tip as a mom of five as well. I actually will sometimes put my earbuds in and I'll put on instrumental worship music while I'm in my Bible time. Just because there's times where I can't get away. There's nowhere for me to go, depending on where we are, especially because we travel. And so that is one little
Mm.
thing that I do. I make sure that every day and don't beat yourself up if you don't have an hour or don't have a half hour or don't have just take a few minutes. I mean, I know that in some seasons, especially when you have littles, you don't always have, the amount of time you want to give him, but just give him some time. Just make sure that you make it a habit every day. So I absolutely love that. That is such a good
Mm.
encouragement for moms, especially.
I just want to highlight though that as your children watch you, you can do it while they're running around in chaos, and you go, kids, mum's having her quiet time,
Yep.
right? And I
Mhm.
think that's okay because they're watching you. And I learned that in my Bible study this morning with BSF, that we can have this internal faith, but we need to be the ambassador and exhibit this to those around. And our children are watching. And when they see mummy has her quiet time with the Lord, oh, wow, that's important. But like, wonder what that's about. It plants the seed of curiosity, and then it maybe shows, let's hope, that in the trial we can show to them, look what the Lord is doing for us. We can't do this alone. It's really important. So I think it's okay for the kids to see you do this. You don't have to make it so it's in those times when they can't see. It can be in full vision,
Oh,
so
for
they know.
100%. No, I agree. And we have time together that we always do it, but I don't know. I like my own time. I just like to have that precious time with him too, by myself. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it depends. I've done both and both are good. So I think that's regardless, just get the time in. It's so
Sure.
worth it. If we put him first, I feel like everything else falls in place. It really does. So tell me a little bit about your journey. You talk about like part of the power of choice and faith and God's redeeming love. Can you share like how did that all come together, especially looking back like your childhood and your healing journey and all of that? Like I'd love to hear just a little bit of how that all has come together in your life.
Sure. There was Jesus. It's a beautiful song I was listening to this morning.
Yeah.
So even in those dark places, I look, part of my journey of writing, God took me back to those really painful, dark closets, I guess. of my past and my childhood. And it was tough, absolutely. It was tough going back um, because it was so painful seeing a family unravel,
Yeah.
and the impact of choices and words spoken and actions.
Mhm.
Um, and I was a little lost cause for a while in my teenage years and in my adolescent years, um, just seeking and searching. And, thankfully, I didn't get into the drug scene, but I was certainly out there experiencing life and in some pretty dark places.
Yeah.
And yet I look back and I see that, yeah, Jesus was still there. He saw, and he knew exactly what I was doing. He saw the brokenness of my heart, and he loved me anyway. And he chased me down. And what I realize is that this brokenness, it breaks his heart too. And I had this very incredible personal encounter one year when I'd returned from a trip in New Zealand, and again, just this generational pain and chaos erupted. And I went home to Australia and I just sat there with my Bible open, pondering, like, this is just so painful. I don't know what to do with this. And I was
That-
sitting on the deck and it was a clear sky. But then it started to rain. And I looked down at my Bible and there was this verse, Jesus wept. And it was this encounter that I realized that, yeah, it breaks God's heart too. And he wants us to draw closer to him and realize that he has a plan and the plan is good. And he will use all of the past and all the damage and all the fires of our lives to regenerate and renew and restore and redeem. And it's such a powerful thing. And I see it and witness it still over and over and over again because let's face it, this world really on the face of it isn't getting any better, and it's certainly not getting any easier.
Right.
Um, but I know that through my personal journey through the fire, that there is a God. He is real. He wants a relationship with us, which is different from religion, where there's no relationship. I mean, I'm going to be unfiltered here. You can't have a relationship with a concrete stone image. You just can't. Doesn't work like that.
100%.
And God, our God, is the only God, and you test him. He's the only God that got of his throne, made himself man, and came down that ladder to be with us. There's
Yeah.
no other religion in the world where their God has done that. Because, frankly, those gods are made by man. And I've learned that what we believe, BELIEVE, often is wrapped around a hidden lie. And the truth is that Jesus is the only way to God. He is the only way to heaven. And he is the only one that has come down and humbled himself with such love for us so that we could be restored and that we can find rest and be redeemed and renewed to really experience heaven on earth and then go from this journey of life into an everlasting kingdom of perfect living life. And yeah, there's nothing else on this planet that will give you that.
So true. So true. Gosh, that is so good. Oh, Jesus wept. I wrote that down. I feel like that is so powerful to realize because we think sometimes, well, why did he let it happen? But to know Jesus wept, he's mourning with us, he's grieving that with us. That hurts his heart too. That's huge. Oh, thank you for saying that. I needed to hear it.
You know, when we understand the concept of that verse, it's just understanding the full concept of that his best friend had just died, right? And he, his timing is perfect. He intentionally arrived 3 days after the death. So there was no denying who he was. He came and he wept with his friends over the death of their brother. And they even had professional wailers and weepers, you know, back in the day. And the community was all weeping and wailing and crying over the death. But then Jesus came. He knew. He wept over the brokenness. He wept with them over their grief.
Yeah.
He's that personal. He wept, I believe, over the fact that in his heart, he's like, it's not supposed to be like this. My Father in heaven created the Garden of Eden, and it's through this choice that now the impact of life is brokenness, right? And I think that broke his heart as well.
Yeah.
But then he went to the grave and he resurrected that dead soul, that dead body, and lifted him up and said, come on out. Again, only Jesus can do that. And there is evidence for those that want to see. You know, people say, I won't believe until I see. Well, we've got it round the wrong way. You're not going to see until you believe. You have to surrender all that you know, humble yourself, and go, you know, what would I know? Truly, what would I know in comparison to this Almighty God? And when we do that, then we start to see.
Yeah. Yeah, faith precedes the miracle for sure. And it says that in so many different places in the Bible that, pray and believe and then it will be. Like, I mean, he will answer. Like you can pray for anything. And if you believe, he will answer. That's crazy to me. I feel like the times that I've read that verse, I'm always like looking at it like, is there a trick in there? Like, is there like some word to like undo what like, is that real? You know, like I don't know. It just amazes me still to this day. But
Yeah.
tell me, someone who is listening and feels like they're kind of stuck in their past, the hurt, the pain, what's their first step towards freedom?
What do you want? Don't ask why. Why can answer so many things, but it doesn't get you unstuck. I say that when you ask the question, what, it actually pumps your tires and enables you to move forward. So ask the what questions. What do I want?
Mhm.
Jesus would say that all the time. What do you want? I mean, the man's blind. Well, it's pretty obvious what he wants. He wants to be able to think. You know, he wants to move away from that pool of healing. But I think when we know that what is it you want? Okay. And what can be my next step to move me forward? What do I want life to look like in the next month or tomorrow,
Right.
next week, next month, 6 months from now? And when you start to unpack some of these what questions, I think that will put you on um, a either a flight path, given us travel girls, or on at least and give you a roadmap to start moving forward.
Hmm.
So, what really helps? I'd be asking questions such as, What are the lies I believe? What is perhaps holding me back? What does that look like?
Mm.
What are you allowing to impact your life? So, what words are you listening to? What shows are you watching? What books are you reading? What TV channel, news channel are you listening to? What is allowing to influence your mind that has you so stuck that you can't move forward? I talk about that actually in one of my chapters. I write it as a travel agent. It's really basic stuff. Here's my book.
Tell us about your book.
It's just a story, which is his story, because I'm part of history,
Yeah.
that God wanted me to write to heal me first, so that I could then put words on paper that perhaps could leave a legacy for well after I'm gone, to point people in his direction, to really ask these questions of ourselves. And I'm really quite blunt about that. You know, if you really don't want to move forward and you quite like staying in the space of being a victim, then this book probably isn't for you, because I've written it with little parables, just really little stories. But at the end of each story, like Jesus telling a parable, there is a nugget for life. And I'll ask you a reflection question, and they're there to help you move forward. And so one of my chapters was what you need to take with you when you travel. And one of them was noise cancelling headphones. But it's really a metaphor to say, hey, stop, unplug yourself from the noise,
Right.
right? Or use those noise cancelling headphones to block the noise, but plug into something that is actually uplifting, something that is going to move you forward,
Mm-hmm.
um, something that may dismiss the lies that you've been believing. Like, we're our own worst enemies, right? Maybe you need to stop the monologue going around and around and around in your head. Maybe you need to stick up here, no fly zone here, and you dismiss those thoughts, right? Jesus says, let me capture those thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
because it's in those places, I believe, that's where we are stuck
Yeah.
in our minds. And so much of the impact of the world today, with who we even believe we are and searching for identity,
Mm-hmm.
is just this chaos that's going around and around in our minds. And where is the truth anymore? You know, where is it? And we can't even speak it, really. I mean, we can on this platform, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
But darkness loves darkness. They don't want the illumination of truth, of light and life shone in there, because that's the dark place and I'm safe there. But when, I was fortunate to be in France, and I went to Da Vinci's last resting place. He'd been there for years, and I saw one of his quotes across the roof, actually, and this moved me forward as well. Just what may happen if you're brave enough to enter those dark chasms of your life? What if you did illuminate light? And just maybe if you do, there you will find the beginning of life and renewal. It's so
Mm.
powerful.
Oh, that's so powerful. I love that. It's so good. So, what lies do you think then that most women believe about themselves that keep them stuck?
They're not good enough. You're
Mm.
not good enough. You have to keep striving and doing more and being more and presenting more, with this image of beauty and perfection and longevity and youthfulness. It's such a lie,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
The devil takes us to these places and he's so cunning, right? He
Mm,
knows exactly where to attack us. And I can speak for me. You know, the five love languages. It's an amazing book.
yeah.
Um, and it's another chapter in my book, actually. I was just so vulnerable explaining this situation for me where I was constantly under attack when I went home. And it just brought me down. And I believed these lies that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't a good enough mom. I wasn't doing enough. You know, I just wasn't enough. And when I got criticized, that spirit of criticism brought me down even further. It was a tough season, you know. What I learned was you're not alone. You're not alone. I learned that you can go and seek help. Be careful who you speak to though, because if it's just your friends that are trapped in that same space, I don't know that they'll be giving you terribly good advice. So be careful who you listen to again. And then these flags were flown for me about the person that was pulling me down. And the beautiful thing that came of this was
Mhm.
what I call, it's an Aussie thing, but it's the boomerang effect. What you give out, as you throw that boomerang, it comes back. It was so beautiful. And what I learned was it wasn't actually about me. It kind of was, but it kind of wasn't. And when I took the focus off myself and looked at the accuser and identified in them, I'm like, I started to have compassion over them and I started to actually give what I wanted because I realized that their bucket of what I needed, which was affirmation, was empty.
Yeah.
So, how can someone possibly give? My expectation was that they were going to affirm me. How can they possibly do that when their own bucket is empty? Wow. And that perspective, which came, it was a godly thing. It, like my book says, above the turbulence, I rose above that darkness of my head for months, swirling around, not sleeping, to my goodness, it's not about me. And I can actually find the answer when I look outside of me.
Yeah.
And then I started filling someone else's bucket. And then guess what? It came back to me when I went to New Zealand that year. Not one word of criticism.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I love that. Oh,
Yeah,
you are
precious.
such an inspiration. That's so important and such good, wise words, let me say. Well, tell me a little bit about what excites you most about just this next season of your life and ministry.
Every day when I make the intentional choice of sitting in this space with the Lord, even if it's only 10 minutes, even if it's plugging in to a worship song, whatever that looks like, don't put God in a box. It's not about necessarily going to church, right? It's not about the doing. He said we are human beings. He wants us to sit and be with Him. And so I get so excited when I do that because in the trials, and they keep coming, let's be truthful here. Let's unfilter this. This is true. Life is full and it's probably going to get worse. Well, it is going to get worse. We're told that.
Yeah.
God tells us that. He pulls no punches. He says, yes, life will be full of trouble,
Yeah.
but be still and know that I am God, right? And so, yeah, that really does excite me because, yeah, I'm an author and I write a book and I know, where's my Bible? I know the last chapter, but I didn't go there first, but you could. I know the end chapter, and I know his plan, and I know how it is all going to end.
Mm-hmm.
So that excites me because I don't have to live in fear. I don't have to live in what I think I know or what I believe, these lies, hidden lies. And I know that when I go to him, he is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And his word is what will remain. His word is true. And we look at society and we look from the beginning of time, we look at all the powers that have come and gone, and it will still continue today. You know, these global wars
Yeah.
are actually leading to a very specific point in time because it's God's story, it's history. He has prophesied a lot, and a lot of what he has prophesied has come true.
Yep.
Yet there is still some to come. And
Mm-hmm.
when we know the truth, yes, Jesus tells us the truth will set us free. And
Yeah.
so I am excited about the future, challenged constantly with I'm a bit like Simon Peter. I get excited and I run ahead, and then it's like, back you come. You know? And I just have to just be this intentional being, feeding my mind with all things that are uplifting. I mean, it says that in Philippians, right? It says, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. And then it says, you know, make your request known to the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
right? But as you do this, know who you're making the request to. He is the almighty, all-powerful, all-sovereign, omniscient God, all-powerful. He's all-knowing.
Yeah.
So know that that's who you're talking to. But you can go there not in fear and trepidation, but in fear and awe as, oh my gosh, he cares that much? He wants to know my prayer request? Are you kidding? That's kind of awesome.
I know.
And he says, and know that when you do, that he is there and he's listening. And
Mm-hmm.
I love the next bit that says, I think it's in verse 8. He said, and then, like there's the premise to the promise, like you were saying. And then what will he do? He will give you a peace that surpasses all understanding. And he will keep our what? Our heads and minds that go crazy and our hearts that deceive us constantly. He
Yeah.
will give us that peace.
Right.
That's my journey. That's where I'm going. That's the road, you know, that I feel is going to define my future.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that's the road, that pathway that I keep stepping onto that pathway because I'm walking with him. It's going to not only impact my life, but many others that he already has planned to hear this. And
Oh,
I just hope I meet all these people in heaven. And yeah, Charles Kirk said, let's make heaven full, or let's fill up heaven, or whatever he said. You know,
proud.
it's like, yes, that is God's heart. He wants it full. That's why he's waiting. That is why he is waiting. Our patient God is waiting because he doesn't want not one to perish, not one.
Yeah. Oh, so good. And God is going to use your story to just reach so many people around the world. I'm so excited. I can't wait to read your book. I wish I had read it already. I need to, I have it on my Kindle. I'm like ready. I can't wait to read it.
Oh,
Tell
thank
me,
you.
where can people connect with you and learn more about your message and get a copy of your book?
Okay. So I'm on Amazon.
Hmm.
Hopefully in the show notes, you could put the link in there.
Yep.
Just on that note, I want you all to know that God's vision and plan is so much bigger than us, right? And so he joined the dots for my book when I was learning how to write, because you know this. We talked about this yesterday. For those he calls, he provides. And I was the most lousy student on the planet. I really was. I don't know how I passed school. However, This little book now has won an International Impact Global Award. And I
Yay.
say that not because of how good I am, but because this is what God does, right? He takes it higher and it all points back to him. And then he joined some dots for me when I was learning how to write. And this is the foundation, faces with names. Look at this dear little face. Oh my gosh, this is Mary,
Oh.
beautiful little Mary. So the proceeds of my book go to orphans and widows in Uganda.
Mm,
See, God doesn't want any to perish. These little kids, thanks to Pastor Daniel and Mama Erica, who run this orphanage, and my dear friend Eric Mills, who started this foundation,
yeah.
when one person says yes, look at the impact it has across the world. It's so exciting. Um, just a shout out to Faces with Names, embrace the vision. So that's what this is all about. And you can find me. Yes, I'm active on social media, Facebook, it's Carolyn Deck, and Instagram, Carolyn.deck. Or you could email me. Perhaps it'll be in the show notes, cdeck0607 at icloud.com. But I would love to hear from you because you know what? That helps me too. You know, it's a lonely road sometimes. As an author, you know, we have imposter syndrome, like I think we talked about yesterday. We're only human, we're not there yet. And Satan wants to bring us down. He doesn't want this out and about. That
Yeah.
goes against his plan, but God, praise the Lord, has a better plan. So yes, if you can grab a copy, know you're impacting others, and let me know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And everyone, please make sure that you go and follow Carolyn and grab her book and share about it on your social media because I just think more people need to know this and more people need to step into the power of choice and really being able to get through that pain to purpose. So thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks, Janine.
Thank you.